Hello and welcome to Martech Advisor's Executive Interview Series. I'm Ginger Conlon, a contributing editor to Martech Advisor. And joining us today is Chip Coyle, who is CMO of Infor. Welcome, Chip.
Thank you, Ginger.
So glad you're here with us today. We are going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is customer experience. So we're going to talk about some trends, some technologies, how they all fit together. But before we dive into that, tell us a little bit about Infor and what makes it unique.
Sure. Well, Infor is the third largest ERP enterprise software company in the world. We sell a broad range of software across the entire business process, including a CX suite for sales and marketing. We really, our core purpose is to make the work experiences and workers more better and more productive and make their work even more joyful and meaningful day to day. What I think sets us apart from the traditional software providers is the ability to we have a huge premium on design and user experience, and that's really a core competency of ours. And so we apply that, and we do that in a very deep, functional way by whichever industry we serve.
Right. It makes sense. I mean, if you have a customer experience suite, you want to make it as customer friendly as possible, right? So that's fabulous.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about customer experience trends and technologies. So, what other types of technologies should they be thinking about in terms of CX and why?
Right. Well, I think customer experience goes much beyond CRM and call centers. It's really more about a broader sense of networked intelligence. So looking across the entire enterprise, and that means connecting really the entire business process together, from the suppliers to the manufacturers to the distributors to ultimately how you market your product or service. And having that visibility across the way only helps to enhance ultimately the customer experience by giving them more information about what they need, and also teeing up possibly new things for them based on their interests or preferences.
Right. Yeah. Very interesting. Yes, you make a great point because you think about the customer experience. Ordering is one part, and availability, and then shipping is another part, and how well the shipping meets the expectations of
Mhm.
the customers, whether it's B2B or B2C. So those things are all tied together. If marketers are thinking or salespeople are thinking about pricing, they need to know about availability and et cetera. So it's important that all of these things are connected.
Absolutely, and it should be based on how the buyer wants to buy, and doing their research, and doing their configuration of what they want, or giving them new ideas of things that just based on kind of their interests.
Right. So you think about customer experience technologies, and they're certainly related, but a lot of times, like the call center or CRM or what have you, they may serve different teams. So from your perspective, who do you feel should quote own these technologies and make sure that they're integrated as necessary, so that those teams, for example, can share data and get that more holistic customer view?
The CIO should really continue to own the entire technology stack across the business. They're the ones that should do the integrations across all of that. But I would say that the role of the CIO is evolving, and they need to be completely tied at the hip with the CMO, right? They need to be looking at what are the business drivers of their business, where are the markets that they want to get into, and the CIO has the ability to bring all the systems and tools together to help make that happen. At Infor, our CIO is actually called the Vice President of Business Innovation. So it's really focused on the goals and results of the business, rather than maybe the traditional maintaining operational systems that maybe don't focus on ultimately driving true business value and business for the company. I would also say that the CEO is probably ultimately the one responsible for all of this, because the business will succeed or fail depending on how this is done.
Right, absolutely. So, what are some of the biggest benefits that you've seen from companies creating, not just say a Martech stack or a service suite, but internally creating their own suite or stack of technologies to support and enhance the customer experience?
Right. I would say number one, it's about just better networked intelligence across the business continuum. It's all of the things that help create better customer intimacy, knowledge of the customer, and adding value to what they do right in their work. And like I said, giving maybe a recommendation engine is a huge benefit to kind of know preferences or next likely purchases, those types of things.
Right. Yeah,
Would
that's so
also
important.
say, the benefits of having this information at easy disposal is the data and the kind of the business intelligence that's derived from it, and from a marketing standpoint, being able to look at where are we investing, what's that return on investment for every dollar we're spending, what kind of return are we getting with pipeline created or revenue generated. And so those all are enabled by having good business intelligence systems, and all of your inputs from the different data sources within the marketing enterprise.
Right. And sometimes that data can wind up being in silos that can be difficult to pull together. So that's certainly a challenge that marketers and customer experience professionals will come across when they're creating these or using these CX technologies. So what's like one of the most common challenges that you come across, and how can business leaders get past that?
Well, I think you hit it. Number one, it's with data, and being able to pull that data together to really give a complete 360-degree view of that customer, and then make that information available to anybody within your company that ultimately touches that customer, from marketing to a salesperson to the support people, the implementers, to the people that are involved in maintaining customer loyalty with that customer. So all of that, there's a variety of sources that populate that 360-degree view, and that's not trivial to pull that together. The other thing I would say is it's about having compelling content for the specific need of that customer, right? So you understanding their customer journey, and their buyer's journey, I would say, and there's kind of different ways that they want to interact with your company. There's different assets and offers that you can make available at different stages of their buying process, and so tying all that together in more of a buyer's journey motif is a huge challenge.
So what is the most important customer experience trend that you're seeing right now, and how should business leaders, especially marketers, be
Mhm.
either responding or preparing?
Well, probably the most important trend is that the buyers are in charge, and they want to go at their own pace. They want to do their research in advance before even engaging with the salesperson. Um, you need to, as a marketer, be thinking less about start and stop campaigns and more always on campaigns, and just turn them on, and then it's a kind of a calibration of how do you calibrate the different sequence of the campaign tactics, from when do you push outbound emails, when do you drive more inbound traffic with things like SEM. So it's really about understanding that, automating it with tools like Marketo, right, for marketing automation, knowing how to auto trigger offers and certain assets based on their buying behavior that comes into it, and that's unique to that individual buyer. So, and Infor's, CX product is very focused on journey mapping for that buyer, and then figuring out, that sequence of activities. That's very important for a very important trend going forward.
Absolutely. And so speaking of, going forward, let's take that look forward. So what is coming up that you're excited about in two areas? One, either, another trend or a tool that you're seeing, and within Infor, anything coming up that we should know about, any new features or some upgrades?
I would say a couple of areas. One is incorporating modern business intelligence tools, and having that be networked kind of outside of your four walls, right? As data feeds come into your BI system. And then the other area I would say is AI, artificial intelligence. And so with AI, that's truly taking it to the next level. That is doing true, machine learning based on the interactions that you've got with your customers and your systems. That incorporates maybe voice recognition and analysis, and being able to learn from that, and to be able to then uh, make go forward actions that correspond to the lessons learned from those interactions. So I mentioned a recommendation engine for salespeople. That's a perfect example, right, of where the previous behaviors and interactions, and using voice technology like the Alexa, motif, right? And we have a product that we just launched in July called Infor Coleman, which enables this type of machine learning and recommendation engines for sales.
Excellent. So, Chip, thank you so much for joining us today, for all the great information and insight. And I want to thank everyone who checked out our video, and visit Martech Advisors YouTube channel for other executive interviews. And Chip, thanks again.
Thank you.